Hi, I'm Irma. At school, everyone always made fun of me because I was an unattractive nerd. I constantly worried about it but didn't know what to do to change it. One day, my parents told me cool news. We were going to Thailand for the holidays. It made me so happy. I couldn't wait to get away for at least a couple of weeks and not see the faces of my classmates I'd grown tired of. So, as we were driving to the airport, I was looking forward to having a great holiday. If only I'd known what I was in for. My parents had forgotten to say that we wouldn't be going alone. My mom's friends were waiting for us at the airport. Irma, you're all grown up. Don't worry, you won't be bored this summer. Zayn is coming with us. Oh, there he is. I followed her gaze and was horrified. Zayn Reed was coming towards us. He was respected by all the guys and adored by all the girls at our school. He drew tattoo sketches and regularly went to the gym. No wonder everyone was attracted to him. Everyone except me. Zayn never missed an opportunity to make fun of me, and I waved my dream of having a great holiday goodbye. Hi, Irma. I made myself greet him back. What a polite boy. He even deigned to call me by my name. Did he pretend to be a good guy in front of his parents? The flight to Thailand felt like hell to me. 17 hours on the plane dragged on like gum. Not even my headphones and favorite music managed to salvage the situation. It was a good thing Zayn didn't pay attention to me and didn't bother me. I even started to think that everything was not that bad, and he would not ruin my holidays. How wrong I was. I was exhausted and immediately fell asleep in the hotel. I woke up when I heard a loud sound right next to my ear. I was so scared that I jumped up abruptly and almost fell after bumping into Zayn. He was standing next to my bed and holding his phone that was playing Rammstein on full blast. Our parents went to the beach and asked me to wake you up. I came up with a few things to say, but in the end just mumbled something unintelligible. Of course, Zayn laughed at me. He hung out in our room a bit longer and finally left. Happy holidays, nerd. I let out a sigh of relief. I had breakfast alone, which suited me perfectly. Mom was constantly monitoring my diet, but now I could just eat whatever I wanted. I got a tray full of different cakes and chose an empty table by the window. I could see the beach from there and noticed Zayn talking to some guys. They seemed to be having fun. After breakfast, I decided to go to the beach too. There were a lot of free sunbeds there, and I chose the farthest one so that Zayn and my parents wouldn't notice me. Basking in the sun, I looked with envy at the beautiful surfers. I wished Zayn would fall off the board, but it seemed like he had been born with it. For the next few days, I avoided Zayn and spent my time enjoying myself. However, everything changed when I got on a surfing board. It was a terrible idea, but I really wanted to try. I chose a time when Zayn wouldn't be on the beach and came up to the instructor. He gave me some basic instructions on the shore, and then we went into the water. I was quite clumsy and kept falling. At some point, a wave hit me and washed me ashore. As I got up, I heard laughter and saw familiar guys. Zayn had filmed everything on his phone. When I looked at the school chat, I saw a video of my humiliation with the caption, "Very graceful, nerd." In the evening, I was in for more trouble. My parents dragged us to a Thai restaurant. Instead of forks and knives, we were given chopsticks, and I didn't know how to use them at all. Of course, Zayn didn't miss the opportunity to tease me, and then he sneakily added a ton of chili to my soup. My parents didn't notice anything, but I cried from how spicy it was. Zayn took a photo of me again and sent it to the chat. I looked horrible in it. I decided enough was enough and started to wait for an opportunity to take revenge. A couple of days after that, I went for a walk with my mom and Mrs. Reed. Zayn's mom loved to talk and wouldn't stop chattering even for a second. I endured it and actually learned something useful. She mentioned that Zayn had been stung by a jellyfish as a child and had been terrified of them ever since. I came up with a plan at once. I googled which jellyfish weren't dangerous, and the next day, I gathered a few of them in the sea. Zayn was sunbathing on a sunbed and dozing without a worry in the world. That was my chance. I crept up to him, carefully put the jellyfish on him, and stepped aside. When Zayn woke up, his loud scream echoed across the beach. No, not even a scream, but a shriek. Zayn quickly jumped to his feet and, still shrieking, began to comically shake himself off. The whole beach was laughing at him. I filmed everything on my phone and waved it in front of Zayn. He was furious. Soon, Zayn came up to me and demanded I delete the video. Why should I? I'd rather send it to the group chat and laugh at the whole school. What do you want? The decision came to me suddenly. You'll pretend to fall in love with me and you'll have to act believable. That shocked him. To be honest, I was shocked by what I had blurted out as well and didn't know where I'd got so much courage from. I just suddenly thought that if the coolest guy in school liked me, I would stop being a laughingstock. Are you crazy? You will pretend to like me, we'll go on a couple of dates, and then I'll dump you. Or I'll send the video to the school chat right now. Choose. I thought he would refuse, but to my surprise, he agreed to my terms. I did not fully believe that he would actually do it, but Zayn kept his word. When I came to school after the holidays, I saw him on the porch. He was talking about something with his friends. and they were looking at each other and grinning. When Zayn saw me, he immediately came over, took my backpack, and said he would walk me to my class. Before the first class, he swept my partner's things off the desk and sat down next to me. I could feel everyone staring at us. I was so excited I couldn't concentrate and didn't even understand what the teacher was talking about. So when he asked me an easy question, I could not answer it. It was strange not to hear everybody laugh after that. It seemed my crazy plan had worked. Zayn flirted with me during the breaks, walked with me to the cafeteria, and one day, he even brought a bouquet of flowers to school. I'd never been given flowers before and didn't know how to react. I just covered my burning face with it and muttered, "Thank you." While I was deciding where to put them, a guy came up to me. His name was Kevin, and he suggested we pair up for the robotics project. He had been working on it for a long time, but now he had come across an issue. "I need a fresh pair of eyes. You have a great imagination, so maybe you could come up with something. If you agree to help, we can present the project together." Something similar had been offered to me before, but back then I'd refused because I had been afraid to attract too much attention. Now, everyone paid attention to me anyway, and I decided to take a risk. Kevin and I started meeting up after classes and working on the project. I never would have thought that robotics would fascinate me so much. Kevin liked my ideas, and we quickly found a common language. Zayn kept pretending to like me. The most interesting thing was that now he wasn't just hitting on me at school, he often sent me funny memes and wished me a good night before going to bed. It was also unlike him that I no longer knew how to act around him. One day, he invited me to an amusement park. We went on a lot of rides, ate cotton candy, and tried our hands at the shooting range. Zayn won a huge teddy bear for me. In the end, I couldn't bear it any longer and asked him what it all meant. I'm sorry, Irma, I didn't treat you well before, but that's because I actually really like you. I haven't been pretending in a while. Let's date for real? I was shocked and couldn't believe he said it. Why me? All the most beautiful girls want to date you. Zayn suddenly pulled me to himself and hugged me. Dummy, I don't need anyone but you. Before I realized what was happening, we were kissing. I thought I saw a flash nearby, but I barely paid attention to it. We went for a walk after that, and Zayn offered to take a photo of me. As I was posing, I almost forgot all about the times he bullied me. Next to me was the coolest guy at school, and all the girls passing envied me. By the way, you didn't send that jellyfish video anywhere, did you? I'm just afraid that it will accidentally pop up. Don't worry, it's only saved on my phone. I don't want to delete it, it's so funny. When I came to school the next day, my classmates greeted me with loud whistles. When people saw me, they would start discussing something, and some of them would even point at me. Zayn had always met me at the school entrance, but he hadn't been there that day. I didn't understand what was going on and wanted to talk to him, but he had moved to another desk. Kevin came up to me during the break and said, Zayn Reed bet his buddies he would kiss the school nerd who only ever kissed textbooks. During the last weeks, everyone had been betting on how soon it would happen, and last night, this appeared in the school chat. Kevin showed photos of me and Zayn kissing, so I hadn't imagined the camera flash. I felt like I had been hit with something heavy over the head. I had been so excited after the date the day before, I hadn't even checked the chat. And you were in on it too? You knew what was going on and didn't tell me anything? Kevin wanted to say something, but I didn't want to listen to him anymore. I turned around and ran towards the exit. I was choking back tears. But after leaving school, I couldn't help it and broke down crying. I was so dumb. Zayn had outsmarted me. He had been pretending to like me for the sake of his bet, and not because of our agreement. And the other students hadn't laughed at me just because they had been playing along with him. I wished I hadn't filmed that damn video at all. Right, that video. I took my phone to send it to the chat, but he couldn't find it. That's when I realized Zayn had deleted it when he had been taking pictures of me. At home, I fell on the bed, threw away the teddy bear Zayn had won in the shooting range, and burst into tears. I'd never felt so awful before. Kevin came in the evening. I didn't want to see anyone and told him to get lost. But Kevin sat down on the edge of the bed next to me. I didn't know anything about the bet. Please believe me. They probably didn't tell me because we were spending a lot of time together and I could have told you. Zayn Reed is a jerk. Forget about him. Instead of calming down, I burst into tears again and told Kevin everything from the beginning. I needed to talk to someone. I told him about our holidays in Thailand, the jellyfish, and even about my insecurities. Kevin was surprised when he heard I didn't think I was pretty. Why do you think that? You are very cute and photogenic. Even in that photo where you are choking on spicy soup, you look funny but still beautiful. You just lack confidence. By the way, you ran away from school today and missed a cool announcement. Kevin said that a photographer would come to our school that weekend. A famous teen magazine was looking for new models, and the photographer was supposed to find them among our students. When Kevin suggested I participate, I just twirled my finger at my temple. I didn't know how to show up at school as it was, let alone after failing a casting. I was no model. But Kevin disagreed and kept insisting. In the end, he managed to convince me. Before he left, he asked to use my phone because his had died. And then, he made me promise I wouldn't change my mind and would come. On Saturday, I came to the casting. As expected, everyone made fun of me. The girls who liked Zayn looked down on me. One of them even bluntly said I should go home and not embarrass myself. If it hadn't been for Kevin, I would have done just that. But he stood next to me and held my hand, not letting me escape. The photographer was called Mary Cooper. She turned out to be a beautiful, stylish, and cool girl. Boys looked at her with bated breath. Even Zayn. Only Kevin remained indifferent. The girls started to shove each other to get in line. Everyone wanted to be among the first to try, but the photographer suddenly noticed me and asked me to come over. At first, I thought she was talking to someone else, and then I walked up to her on stiff legs. I didn't really know how to pose, but Mary gave me very clear instructions. She took several photos of me, wrote something in a notebook, and called over the next person in line. When Zayn's turn came, he confidently approached Mary and tried to flirt with her. "Ah, I know you. You're the guy from the jellyfish video." What? How did the photographer know about it? Zayn turned pale, but Mary didn't seem to notice it. While she was sending the link to the video to everyone interested, I couldn't figure out who had uploaded the video to YouTube. And how was that even possible if the video had been deleted from my phone? I hadn't sent it anywhere else. The video quickly went viral and Zayn became even more famous, though not in the way he wanted. His reputation as a cool guy was ruined. A couple of days after that, I got a call from the magazine and was invited to a photo shoot. I kept thinking that they had made a mistake. However, when I came to the studio, it turned out that they were waiting for me there. I was immediately surrounded by stylists, and in a couple of hours, I could barely recognize myself. They had done my hair, put makeup on me, and gave me cool clothes as well. For the first time in my life, I felt beautiful. And when I saw the finished photos, I realized that Kevin had been right. I really was photogenic. But the surprises didn't end there. After the photo shoot, Kevin invited me over. I came to him looking like I had during the photo shoot, and he liked it. Kevin's mom had baked cookies, and we drank tea and chatted. At some point, the door opened, and in came Mary Cooper. I almost choked on a cookie. What was she doing there? "Well, Irma, you've already met my cousin." "What? Mary Cooper and Kevin were related?" "Don't be mad, but my brother told me everything about what happened to you. He asked me to teach Zayn a lesson and help you become more confident. But don't worry, I would have invited you to the photo shoot anyway. You are very pretty." I was at a loss for words. Eventually, I asked how the deleted video had turned up on YouTube. "When we were at your place, I asked for your phone to make a call, remember? I'm pretty good with technology, so it was easy for me to restore a deleted video." I felt so grateful I couldn't help but hug Kevin and Mary. Soon, I was on the cover of a magazine, and our project turned out to be so successful that Kevin and I were asked to present it in other states. I've learned to love myself, grown more confident, and nobody at school laughs at me anymore. And what is your relationship with your peers? Tell us in the comments down below. Perhaps your stories will help someone change.